This video is presented by mybookie.ag. What's up, guys? Here are my predictions for this weekend's UFC card, headlined by Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai. Now, on paper, honestly, it does not look like the best card. On paper, one of the weakest cards of the year, but what does that mean? That means the card is going to be explosive and very fun to watch. It's just the trend, man. I don't know how to explain it. Might be because the fighters have something to prove and show their name out there. But we are going to start with a fight that I already broke down before in a prior prediction video that didn't come to fruition because one of the fighters tested positive for COVID. Preux versus Alonzo Menifield, rescheduled again as the co-main event. Now, my prediction, my thoughts on this don't really change. In fact, it does strengthen my official prediction of it a bit more. Because OSP has gotten COVID, that might have a little bit of a negative effect afterward, whether it be some mental fatigue, physically he got out of shape a little bit more. I don't know exactly how it affected his body, affected his health, but definitely not going to help anything. It's not going to be any kind of a benefit at all. And a guy like Alonzo Menifield, who's so young, he has been given more time to get better because of this, and that's only going to strengthen his chances to win this fight. Now, my prediction for this fight, I do think Alonzo Menifield is going to win for the same reasons as before. He's a far better striker, far more powerful. OSP has declined in his striking, especially in his defensive striking, where he's getting hit pretty consistently now. When you look at his fight with Menifield, he was getting hit left and right by the power shots and really couldn't find a way out of it besides toughing his way through and trying to get it to the ground. And that's ultimately what he's gonna have to try to do against a guy like Menifield: get the explosive, muscle-bound guy tired by shooting it on takedowns constantly to the point where his opponent is exhausted. OSP's a lot more defensive these days. He's moving around a lot, using his footwork a lot, not too much good fundamental striking defense, and this was evident in the Ben Rothwell fight, in the Menifield fight. Many of his recent fights, it has shown a decline in his striking skills, but his grappling skills should be more than enough to submit and dominate a guy like Alonzo Menifield. But the thing about Alonzo Menifield is the guy's already stuffed 14 takedowns in his 3 fights in the UFC, which is insane to think about. 9 takedowns against Devin Clark, who's a much better wrestler than OSP. The method for Alonzo Menifield to win this fight is practically just sprawl and brawl and be patient for the power shots, right? Don't expend too much energy like he usually does to the point where he starts getting tired, because in a 3-round fight, he has a lot of time to work with to just gain points and probably find a finish, allowing it to present itself. And that's how I think he's going to win this fight. So I'm going to go with Alonzo Menifield. I'm going to go by a second round TKO. And then we go to the main event: Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai. Old versus the new. The way this fight can play out is pretty much how the Walt Harris fight could have played out, and maybe even the Jairzinho Rozenstruik could have played out. Practically, Overeem has to fall into a strike to get caught. Overall, across the board, Overeem is the better fighter. He's more skilled on the feet and on the ground. He is better wrestling. He can take the fight to the ground. He has higher fight IQ. He's faster than Sakai, able to probably knock him out with any big shot. And when you look at all that on paper, it's very hard to see Overeem lose this fight without the heavyweight puncher's chance. And the heavyweight puncher's chance is pretty high for anybody. Anybody can knock out anybody with one big shot, especially when you're fighting Alistair Overeem, whose chin has been deteriorating for a long time. The Walt Harris fight probably gives more confidence they might be able to take some shots from Sakai, who Sakai's not the biggest puncher. He's more of a volume striker and overwhelms you, right? Because Overeem took some of Walt Harris's biggest shots and did not go away from it. He got dropped, but he didn't get TKO'd, and he eventually was able to find a way to catch the missed front kick, take it to the ground, and dominate. Well, I will say that Augusto Sakai is a less threat than Walt Harris in every aspect besides one: cardio. Sakai has better cardio than Walt Harris. He's not going to gas out as easily, but he doesn't have the same hand speed. He's not as powerful as Walt Harris. He's not as good as a boxer, and his pressure is nowhere near the same. And there is specifically a huge defensive hole, specifically that Overeem or any southpaw quick puncher can capitalize on Augusto Sakai. When Augusto Sakai backs up, he backs up into a square stance, and he lifts his chin up, and he throws his right hand kind of like in a slappy motion to counter. Now, what this historically has made him fall into is a straight left hand from a southpaw fighter who's moving forward on him, right? If Overeem is able to pressure him a little bit, maybe using some kicks to the legs, to the body, to back him up a little bit, he can start chasing him down, cutting him down with the outside step left hand, which is always going to catch Augusto Sakai, because Sakai does not move his head off center line. He just moves it back and lifts his chin up when he's on the defense, and that's perfect for a guy like Alistair Overeem to capitalize on. So my prediction for this fight, I'm going to go with Alistair Overeem. I think is pretty much his biggest chance of losing this is just getting caught making a big mistake against a heavyweight. So I'm going to go with Overeem in this one, and I'm going to go by a 3rd round submission or even 4th round submission. How I see this fight playing out is I see Sakai pressuring a little bit, plotting forward, trying to gauge for his distance. Overeem is using lateral movement to get around, and with that, he's throwing a lot of side kicks to the leg. He's throwing a lot of jabs or left straights as Sakai's trying to get his placement in preparation to attack. But the constant disruptions from the left hands and the kicks from Overeem are going to eventually make the younger Sakai get a little bit too aggressive, start forcing things a lot more, and from that he'll possibly get into the clinch, get dominated there a little bit, or get taken to the ground, or fall into a counter left hand that he rushes into. I think he's going to be able to take some of those shots. He has a really good chin. He might be able to take a lot of the damage, and this is going to keep carrying on, maybe with some takedowns in the second or third rounds, where Sakai now starts to get tired, gassing out a bit, and Overeem's able to get him to the ground in the fourth round, let's say, and submit it with an arm triangle or something like that. Very specific prediction, I guess. It'll be wild if that actually happens, though. And man, every fight on this card may seem very, very close and gives you a lot of opportunities when you go and bet on the fights with mybookie.ag. No one gives you more ways to win and better lines than they do. From knockouts to submissions to decisions, even draws if you happen to be able to predict those. Whether the fight just goes to a decision or not without actually picking a winner of the fight, there's many ways you can go and maximize your earnings. And when you actually go and look at every single fight, there's only 2 fighters on the entire card that is over a 2-to-1 favorite. Every other fight is nearly a pick'em fight, and by doing some more research, watching some more fights, you may be able to pick out that maybe one of the fighters that is a slight underdog or even a slight favorite has a much better chance than what the betting odds are actually saying. For example, I believe Alistair Overeem should be a way bigger favorite than he actually is, but because the odds are so close, it does give you a huge opportunity. And also, if you want to bet a little and win a lot, you could try a parlay. Just put a lineup of the fighters that you think are going to win so you can go and multiply your earnings. And if you guys are confident in your fight picks, then you have to check out MyBookie Super Contest with prize pools of $100,000 and $300,000. It's a great opportunity to win big money for those who are planning to bet on football this season with the NFL coming back. All you have to do is go to mybookie.ag and sign up for the deposit bonus. You get a first free deposit bonus where MyBookie will match up your first deposit halfway all the way up to $1,000. For an example, if you deposit $200, you get $100 in free money to play with. Just use the promo code WEASEL to activate this offer. That's promo code WEASLE to take advantage of MyBookie's sign up offer. Sign up with mybookie.ag today, where you bet, you win, and when you win, you get paid. And like I said before, man, the betting odds are very, very close. Obviously, I do think Alistair Overeem is going to win this fight a lot more than what the betting odds are giving him. Alonzo Menifield possibly will. It depends how he approaches the fight, really. If he approaches a little bit more patient, I believe he has a much better chance of winning. When you have Michel Pereira in a fight, you never know what's going to happen. He might lose by a DQ again. He might jump out of the octagon on accident. You never know what's going to happen with him. And that's why I believe they have as a pick'em. Pereira should win the fight due to his skills, but his fight IQ, his decision making is a bit of a liability. But to be honest, I agree with most of the betting odds here, besides really the main event. So I hope you guys enjoyed the predictions. If you did, make sure to thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.